Let's just see if we can get across the road here without getting run over. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of TopoRanger. Today we are down by the Codorus Creek, not far from the Susquehanna River, and we are going to explore some ruins today that are a stone's throw from the Codorus furnace, the world famous Codorus furnace, right? Which is right down there. And we're not doing the furnace episode. Today we're going to focus on the ruins of what was a flint mill, which happens to be right across the road from the structure right here. Now this building behind me was built way back in 1780, and what this is the original ironmaster's mansion, and also it was the location of the furnace office. Not too long ago, the state opened up the Susquehanna Riverlands State Park. And after that, or maybe slightly before that, the Lancaster Conservancy donated this plot of land and that plot of land to the state to become part of the Susquehanna Riverlands State Park. And based upon what I'm seeing at the top there, it looks like they've done some work on restoring this thing. So I don't know what the master plan is here. You can see right there the stone construction. It has this stucco on it. I guess they ripped the stucco off. See, the windows are broken. It wasn't that long ago that this was privately owned, and they brought in this cherry picker here so they can get up high on the walls and probably knock that stucco off. Sorry about the noise, we're right next to a road. This part of the park is not open to the public yet. You can see there's a no trespassing sign there. Danger, keep out, no trespassing. I don't know what it's like on the inside of this. It could be really dangerous, or maybe parts of it are dangerous, other parts are okay. As we come back across the road here, you can get a better idea of what the whole thing looks like. It's a pretty big structure. I do think there is a paranormal association with this house. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. And what we're doing today is we're going to go down here and check out the ruins at creek level of an old flint mill. So there's the ironmaster's mansion right there. Come down that steep hill, and here you are amidst a beautiful ruin. Now this was the last thing to be built, occupied, and used at the Codorus Furnace historic site. The flint mill here was built in 1884 out of stone, had a wood frame and a slate roof. I did find one black and white image taken in 1950 of the ruins of the flint mill here that show part of the structure still having its wood frame and its roof. But that's all I could find. I'll put that picture up right now. Here we can see the thickness of the walls, about 2 feet thick. Looks like there's some old farm equipment here too. Stuff is rusted out. I have been to these ruins before, and I did take some video here once, but it was a cursory thing. I think that episode was about trying to find some old dams up on the Codorus Creek there, which we never did find. But those are good episodes. I'll put the first one up here right now. Here we have an old, what I guess was a window, and it still has the wood in it. I don't know if that's original from 1884. And at this mill, they used flint, silicon dioxide, in this case, high quality quartz from the Hellam Hills here, which we are in the middle of. And with it, they would make fire starters, and they also made rifle firing. I don't know much about old style guns, but I'm assuming that it had something to do with the mechanism that ignited the gunpowder. And as for the fire starters, I did a quick search and I turned up a lot of these oval shaped steel rings that had a little and a little on the end like that, right? And they would use those to strike against a piece of quartz or a piece of flint, and essentially little pieces of the glowing hot metal shoots off after it makes contact with the flint in the form of these little sparks, which you can use to start a fire. This looks like some type of stack for a fire or a kiln or something. You see that? What is that? Hold on, I see something over here which may be of interest. Now I don't know if this is actually just a piece of old farm equipment that found its way out here, or perhaps maybe something associated with the actual Flint mill and the production of these tools. It's got this big entry point right here. Maybe it's a boiler or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I have no idea what that is, but it is right here next to this chimney. Is that what that is? I found something else here. That looks like a metal pipe. Look at these big holes here. And that goes from there. It's right there. Here we go. You can see the metal. That's solid. Now, does it run the whole way over to there? Let's go find out. And it does, in fact, come over here. And here's the other end. There's also this big metal plate, which corresponds to the length of this pipe or this tube or whatever this is. And it does go in there. So I tell you what, I'm going to go back to my backpack and get my 1,000 lumen light there. We're going to bring it back and we're going to probe this very old metal pipe. And perhaps what we see on the inside of it will help us figure out what it was. Step number one, we got to insert the light into the pipe, just like this. Whoa, oh, my hand goes off there. Of course, the first thought I had when I stuck my face down in here was, I really hope there's no critters in here. I don't see any. Let's probe a little deeper. All right, we're about 3 feet in now, and I think that should give us a pretty good idea of how this thing was constructed, what's on the inside, and perhaps what it was used for, whether it's a piece of old farming equipment or it was associated with the actual production at the Flint mill. Here's a shot looking back out. As I'm looking at this thing, I just got an idea of what it might be. Let me pull you back out of there and I'll tell you what that is. And here we go. We're coming out of the pipe right now. So what I was thinking was that maybe that was a tube they used for washing or cooking the flint. I know with dolomite, they have this huge 100, 200 foot long, slightly tilted, heated, rotating cooker, right? And it rolls it and it cooks it. It's part of the refining process, I guess is what you would say. If you know what that pipe was used for, please leave in the comment because I would love to know. I don't think it's a piece of farming equipment. It seems a little bit big and it's in place right there. So I think it's something that they were using in the Flint mill to produce the Flint products. Let's orient. There's the Ironmaster's mansion. There's this wall, which looks like it's completely gone. That wall's starting to crumble, crumbling. Let's go over here though and check this out. Quite a bit of junk down here. I would imagine this would get cleaned out eventually. Is this? No, this is a natural outcrop. That's not a built wall. This is a built wall though. So this is some type of structure. But now this looks like the phyllite. I think we're on phyllite here. Phyllite or quartzite. What's up there? I want to know what that is. Let's see if we can get up here, find out what that is, without impaling ourselves on that. Looks like a stone wall to me. It's just a piece of wall up there. Maybe it was just meant to reinforce the road at some point, but there also is a piece of a foundation over there. So maybe there was some type of structure there and they had something connecting over to the mill. Lots of downed sycamore trees here. Look at this right here. This makes me wonder why those pieces are there in the middle of a wall. To me, this looks like something you would do at a corner, but then right there, the wall just keeps going. You see that? It goes that way. To me, that's saying that originally maybe this part of the structure ended here and went that way, and then from here down to there was a later addition. Trying not to fall. This just puts us back to the upstream side of the ruins here. So I don't know why that wall is there. There's another big metal plate, some more farm equipment. And this, which looks to be like an old beam with some type of something or the other fixed to it. That's definitely not farming equipment, I wouldn't think. So the wood used to fill this whole thing up here. Here's a little framed out box right in the wall that goes nowhere. Now here's a big piece of the white quartzite right here. I'm not sure if they used this stuff to make the flint. I mean, there's tons and tons and tons of this stuff everywhere in the Hellam Hills. So if they were using this, they had a plentiful supply. But that I do not know. Let's head through here. See how there's a wall running here? It's almost like there's a channel built into the floor of this thing on purpose. There's another one of those beams. There we go. Now we got some sun on the downstream side. That big arch is really the most prominent feature of this whole thing. I wonder if that was the entrance to the mill. Then you have this elevated wall here, which forms a ledge. Not sure what that is. In addition to that one black and white picture, I found this little clipping from, I think it's the York Dispatch. And it reads, "The flood was very high at the mouth of the Codorus," which is that way. "The county bridge a short distance from the river near Codorus Furnace was swept away by the raging torrent as it came down with all of its power." There is a modern bridge down there, so that might have been the same location for the old bridge. So that bridge was swept away. The Codorus Flint Company's mill, located about 3/4 of a mile from the river, was considerably damaged. The dam was broken and destroyed. The mill was but lately built and was put in operation on the 1st of May last, meaning last May. I guess they used to write it like that back in the 1880s. About 135 tons of ground flint ready for market was swept away. Loss of about $2,000, which in today's money is about $60,000 to $65,000. The ground flint was to have been shipped this week. 135 tons. That's a lot of ground flint. So they suffered a pretty big loss, I would imagine. All I know is that in 1950, it was already abandoned and quite dilapidated. I'll put that picture up again right now, as you can see. So obviously in 1950, it was out of business. And judging by that picture, it had been out of business for quite a while. You know, I just noticed that this wall is right here, and it kind of comes out of there, which to me seems kind of odd. So as the sun comes breaking through the winter clouds, I want to show you what I think is probably the most interesting feature of these ruins is the millstone, which is right there. It looks like it's 4 or 5 feet in diameter. And what is it made out of? What is this stuff? I don't know. I don't know if the stone they used to make this was a local one. I don't know if this is where this was during operation. It's possible. I can't imagine moving something like this. It's got to weigh multiple tons. Although there does seem to be this part of the ruin right here, which was constructed perhaps for that to be on top. I'm not sure. Oh, there you go. Hey, let's get the light. So let's use this light to get a better look at this millstone. Is that granite? What is that? I'll have to do a little bit more research and maybe try to figure out what they use to mill flint, because I think silicon dioxide is pretty hard. Quartzite, flint, I think it's pretty hard on the Mohs scale. It would have to be harder than flint in order to mill it, right? And if we lift up some of this debris, we'll get a nice idea of what it looks like. And as I'm standing here, I notice there's a square hole and a circle. And I bet you this is another millstone. Look at that. Whoa. Look how thick that one is. How much does that sucker weigh? It's half buried too. So that's millstone number 2. And then over here, underneath that one, there looks to be the remnants of yet another one, perhaps broken in 2 or 3 pieces. Yeah, you see that? I don't know which side's up or what, but this one that my knee's on is definitely a piece of an old stone. And look at this here. This looks like a piece of the original slate roof. They might have gotten this from southern York County because I know there's a lot of slate quarries down there. But yeah, that looks like a piece of the original roof. It's got the holes where they would have nailed it or screwed it or fastened it down, one on top of the other. That's pretty cool. And here's a metal drum of some kind, a crusher maybe. I mean, who knows, right? Once again, as is so often with ruins, you go in with questions and you come out with even more questions. But that's part of the fun, right? I'll be interested to see if they come down here and clean this whole place up as part of the restoration, if they are in fact doing a restoration, what they find right here, because I bet you if you were to dig around here, you'd probably find some more millstones in there. And here's a big old beam here, probably 10 by 10, and it's got what look to be big bolts in it, but look at this. It's a hoop. Right there, and right there, and right there. It almost seems like this rectangle right here was either lower or had a floor on it and had stuff going on underneath. I saw a pipe over there that looked like a big, heavy, almost like a water pipe. It's interesting to speculate how this whole thing was arranged and what each feature that we found today represents or what it did in the process. So we started out with the 1780 Iron Master's Mansion and Furnace Office. Came down here to check out the Flint Mill ruins, built 1884, and we found some interesting stuff in there. If you enjoyed yourself today, go ahead and hit subscribe. Ring my bell for notifications. Follow me on all the platforms and share me on all the socials, all right? This is Brett for TopoRanger, and I will see you in the next episode.